My badge didn't work. I stood there in the parking garage holding my coffee, the reader flashing red 3 times before going dark. I swiped again. Same result. The security guard looked at me through the glass with that careful expression people use when they're about to tell you something you already know but wish you didn't. I walked to the door. He buzzed me through manually, which meant the system had flagged me for something. "Morning," I said. "Mr. Brennan." He didn't look up from his screen. "I need to see some ID." I'd worked here 14 years. He'd seen me 5 days a week for the last 6 months. "Badge isn't working," I said, holding it up. "I know. That's why I need to see ID." I pulled out my driver's license. He scanned it, typed something, then looked at his monitor for longer than necessary. The kind of pause that means someone's reading instructions they didn't write. "You're showing as voluntary separation," he said. "Effective yesterday." The coffee wasn't hot anymore. I noticed that first, before the words actually registered. "I was here yesterday," I said. "Until 6. System shows you submitted notice 2 weeks ago." He turned the monitor toward me. There was a form. HR exit process. Voluntary. My name typed in the employee field. Date submitted. October 3rd. Today was October 17th. The font spacing was wrong. Not much. Just enough that someone rushing wouldn't notice. But I'd designed half the templates this company used. That wasn't our standard Calibri. That was Arial with modified kerning. "Who approved this?" I asked. He scrolled down. There was a signature. Digital. From someone in HR I'd never heard of. "You'll need to contact Human Resources," he said. "I can't let you pass this point without active credentials." "My laptop's upstairs." "You can coordinate pickup through HR." I looked at the elevator bank beyond the security barrier, 15 feet away. I'd walked through there 4,000 times, maybe more. Now there was just glass and a card reader flashing red. "Can I talk to your supervisor?" I asked. "She'll tell you the same thing. System's clear. You're not in the building roster." He said it gently, like he was helping me understand something difficult. I drove home, didn't call ahead, didn't stop anywhere. Just drove the route I'd driven 10,000 times, but now the endpoint meant something different. Laura was in the kitchen when I walked in. She looked up from her laptop, saw me, and checked her watch. "That was fast," she said. Not, "Why are you home?" Not, "What happened?" "Badge didn't work," I said. She closed the laptop, not quickly, just deliberately. "Did you talk to security?" "They showed me a form. Says I quit 2 weeks ago." "Did you?" The question sat there between us like something sharp. "No." "Then someone made a mistake," she said. "You'll call HR. They'll fix it." She opened the laptop again. Went back to whatever she'd been doing. The conversation was over for her. I went upstairs to the office and logged into my work email on my phone. Credentials still worked. I had 200 unread messages from yesterday alone. If I'd quit 2 weeks ago, someone would have shut down my access. I opened the VPN app. Connected. Pulled up the file server. Everything was still there. My directories, my projects, 14 years of institutional memory. Then I checked the access logs. Someone had opened my shared folders at 4:47 a.m. this morning, while I was in the shower getting ready for a job I apparently no longer had. The IP address wasn't from inside the building. It was residential, local area code. I pulled up the metadata on the exit form the security guard had shown me. He'd turned the screen too fast for me to see everything, but I'd caught the document properties in the corner. Created date, October 3rd. Modified date, October 16th, yesterday, 8:15 p.m. Someone had updated the form last night. I sat there staring at the screen until my phone buzzed. Text from Julian, my son. He was 34, worked in strategic planning for a tech firm downtown. "Hey, Dad, heard you're taking some time off. Good for you. You've been running yourself into the ground." I read it 3 times. He'd heard. From who? I'd walked out of the parking garage 40 minutes ago. I called him, voicemail. I called Melissa, my daughter. She was 31, did corporate communications for a PR firm. She picked up on the second ring. Dad, who told you I'm taking time off? I asked. Pause. Aren't you? No. Another pause. Longer. Julian said you were stepping back. He sounded concerned. When did he say that? Last night. We had dinner. They'd had dinner, Julian and Melissa, my kids, and they'd talked about me stepping back from work before I knew my badge was deactivated. I didn't quit, I said. Someone processed paperwork that says I did. That sounds like an HR mix-up, she said. Her voice had shifted into professional mode. Soothing. Controlled. These things happen. Did you call them? Not yet. Call them. I'm sure it's nothing. She hung up before I could respond. I went back to the file server logs, pulled 6 months of access history, converted it to a spreadsheet, started sorting by user, by time, by directory. Pattern recognition was what I did. Operational systems, workflow design. I'd spent 14 years making sure processes ran smoothly, that handoffs happened correctly, that nothing fell through cracks. Now I was looking at my own job as a process, and someone had engineered a handoff. The residential IP that had accessed my folders showed up 14 times in the last month. Always early morning, always before 6 a.m. The login credentials were mine, but the location wasn't. I pulled the phone number from the IP registration. Area code matched. I reverse searched it. Julian's address. My son had been in my work files every few days for a month, using my credentials, while I slept. I heard Laura coming up the stairs. She knocked, which she never did. I'm going to the store, she said through the door. Do you need anything? No. Okay. Footsteps receding, front door closing, car starting. She hadn't opened the door, hadn't looked at me. She was giving me space, maybe, or she was avoiding something. I checked her text messages. We had each other's passwords, transparency. That's what we'd always said. No secrets after 28 years. She'd deleted her thread with Julian, not archived, deleted. I checked the cloud backup. It restored automatically every night. Last backup, October 16th, 11:47 p.m. Julian. It's done. He'll find out tomorrow. Laura. You're sure about this? Julian. He trained us to think 10 steps ahead. He should have seen this coming. Laura. I didn't agree to this. Julian. You didn't disagree either. The thread ended there. I sat in my office looking at words my wife and son had written about me while I was asleep one floor below them. My phone buzzed. Email from HR. Subject line, exit interview scheduling. I opened it. Boilerplate template. They wanted to schedule a call to discuss my transition. Attached was a PDF. The same form the security guard had shown me, but now I could see all of it. Reason for departure, personal health concerns, supervisor approval, verified. Employee signature. There was a scanned image. My signature. From something else. Lifted and placed. I zoomed in. The ink saturation was inconsistent. They'd pulled it from a birthday card I'd signed for someone in accounting 3 months ago. I remembered the card. Thick paper, blue pen. The scan had picked up the texture. Whoever did this knew I'd look closely. They'd still done it anyway. That meant they thought I couldn't stop it. Or wouldn't. I called the HR number on the email, got a directory, pressed the option for separations and exits. Exit services, this is Amanda. This is David Brennan. I received an email about exit interview scheduling. Yes, Mr. Brennan. We have you down for Friday at 2. Does that work? I didn't submit separation paperwork, I said. Pause. Keyboard clicks. I'm showing your notice was filed October 3rd. 2 weeks is standard. I didn't file it. Someone else did. More clicking. Longer pause. Sir, the form shows electronic signature verification. That's linked to your employee ID. If there's a discrepancy, you'll need to speak with IT security and your direct supervisor. Who's my direct supervisor according to your system? Let me check. Pause. That would be Julian Brennan. I hung up. Julian had been my supervisor for 6 weeks. Temporary assignment while they restructured the operations division. I'd recommended him for the role, thought it would be good for him to see how the systems worked from the leadership side. I'd trained him on authorization workflows, showed him how approval chains functioned, walked him through every process, including voluntary separations. He'd asked questions, lots of them. I thought he was being thorough, learning the role. He'd been learning how to erase me. I pulled the org chart. Julian's name was in my old position, not acting manager, not interim, just operations manager, industrial systems. Effective date, October 4th. The day after I'd supposedly filed to quit. I checked Melissa's LinkedIn. She'd updated her profile yesterday. New post. Excited to announce I'll be joining Brennan Advisory Services as Communications Director. Brennan Advisory Services. I'd never heard of it. I searched. New LLC. Filed September 28th. Officers listed. Julian Brennan, Melissa Brennan. They'd started a company. Used my name. 3 weeks ago. I went back through my files. Found the ones Julian had accessed. Contract templates, client lists, workflow documentation, everything someone would need to replicate what I did, but outside the company structure. They weren't just replacing me, they were copying me, and they'd needed me gone to do it. The front door opened downstairs, Laura coming back. I cleared my screen, shut the laptop, walked down. She was putting groceries away, didn't look up. "Did you call HR?" she asked. "Yeah." "What did they say?" "They're looking into it." She nodded, kept unloading bags. "Laura." She stopped, looked at me. "Did you know?" I asked. "Know what?" "About Julian, the paperwork." Her face didn't change. That was the tell. She had a dozen micro-expressions. I'd learned them over decades. Right now there were none. "I don't know what you're talking about," she said. "He's been accessing my work files for a month. He processed my exit paperwork. He's taking my job." "That sounds like something you need to discuss with Julian." "I'm discussing it with you." She folded the grocery bag, creased it precisely, put it in the drawer with the others. "I think you're upset," she said. "I think you're seeing patterns that aren't there. My badge doesn't work. Then there's a technical error. Technical errors don't promote my son into my job the next day. Maybe they needed continuity. Maybe Julian stepped up because someone had to." She said it like she'd practiced, like she'd known this conversation was coming and had prepared her answers. "You deleted your texts with him," I said. Now her face changed, just for a second. Something crossed it. Not guilt, calculation. "I don't like the tone you're using," she said. "What tone?" "Accusatory. I'm stating facts. You're implying I'm part of some conspiracy against you. That's paranoid." She walked past me, went upstairs. The bedroom door closed. I stood in the kitchen surrounded by groceries she'd bought with money I'd earned at a job I apparently didn't have anymore. My phone buzzed. Julian calling. I answered. "Dad, we should talk." "Yes," I said. "We should." "Not on the phone. Can you meet me at the office? I'm here late tonight." "I can't get in the building. I'll come down. 20 minutes. He hung up. I drove back downtown. The parking garage was emptier now. Evening shift. Most people gone. Julian was waiting by the security desk. He looked tired. Or he wanted me to think he did. "Let's walk," he said. We went to the loading area. Concrete, dumpsters, no cameras this far back. "I didn't want it to happen like this," he said. "How did you want it to happen?" "Cleaner." "Whose idea was it?" "Does it matter?" "Yes." He leaned against the wall, looked at me like he was choosing his words carefully. "You've been running yourself into the ground for years," he said. "Laura's worried. Melissa and I are worried. You're 53. You've given this company 14 years. You've gotten nothing back. I've gotten a salary, benefits, stability. You've gotten exploited. They underpay you, overwork you. You do 3 jobs worth of work for 1 title. That's not your decision to make. Someone had to make it. So you faked my resignation. I processed your exit. You'd already checked out mentally. This just made it official. Julian, you committed fraud. I used authorized credentials. My credentials. I'm your supervisor. For 6 weeks. Long enough to have signature authority. He'd thought this through. Every angle. Every justification. And the company you started? I asked. Melissa and I are offering continuity services to clients who need operational consulting. It's not competing, it's adjacent. Using my methods. Using methods you taught us. There's a difference. Is there? You wanted us to be independent thinkers. You wanted us to solve problems. We did. By erasing me. By moving forward. I looked at him. My son. I'd taught him to ride a bike, helped him with homework, paid for college, walked him through his first job interviews, showed him how systems worked, how people worked. Where's Melissa in this? I asked. She handles the branding. I handle the structure. And Laura? She knew it was coming. She didn't participate. But she didn't stop it. No. The loading dock was quiet. Somewhere a truck was beeping in reverse. Normal sounds. Everything normal except the conversation. What happens now? I asked. You take the exit package. It's generous. More than standard. I made sure of that. You made sure? Yes. How generous? 6 months severance. Full benefits through the end of the year. Reference letter signed by me. Signed by you. I'm your supervisor on record. You removed me so you could pay me to go away. I removed you so you could finally rest. He said it like he believed it. Like this was a kindness. Julian. Yeah. How? You trained under me for 6 weeks. I've been doing this for 14 years. So? So you think you learned everything. You didn't. Meaning what? Meaning you're going to find out. I walked away, left him standing in the loading dock, drove home again. The route was starting to feel different, like the geography had changed, but the roads stayed the same. Laura was in bed when I got there, reading. She looked up when I came in. Did you talk to Julian? She asked. Yeah. And? He explained everything. Good. She went back to her book. I got ready for bed. Normal routine. Everything normal. Except I wasn't tired. I went back to the office, pulled up files I hadn't touched in years, system architecture documents, access protocols, legacy infrastructure. The company ran on systems I'd designed, processes I'd built, workflows I'd optimized. Julian knew the current version, the polished interface. He didn't know the foundation, the parts I'd buried because they worked, and no one needed to touch them. I started making a list. By 3 a.m., I had 47 items, things Julian would need to know to actually do my job. Things that weren't documented anywhere except in my head. Things that would start breaking in about 2 weeks if nobody maintained them. I sent an email to myself from an old account I'd forgotten I had. Attached the list. Then I deleted the sent message from the work side. Tomorrow, Julian would start getting questions he couldn't answer. And I'd start getting proof that they needed me more than they'd planned for. I finally went to bed. Laura was asleep. Or pretending to be. I lay there in the dark, thinking about signatures and forms and family dinners, where everyone smiles and passes the salt and plans your erasure between the appetizer and dessert. The last thing I thought before sleep was that they'd made one critical mistake. They'd assumed I'd accept it. I woke up at 5:30. Normal time, muscle memory. My body didn't know I was unemployed. Laura was already up. I heard the coffee maker downstairs. I checked my phone. 17 missed calls. All from the main office number. 12 voicemails. I listened to the first one. Mr. Brennan, this is IT. We're experiencing system errors with the procurement workflow. Can you call us back? Second one. David, it's Angela from operations. The automated inventory reports didn't generate last night. Julian said you might know why? Third one. This is Frank in logistics. The shipping manifests are showing format errors. We can't process outbound until this is fixed. I deleted them all without listening to the rest. Went downstairs. Laura was at the table with her laptop and coffee. "You're up early," she said. "Habit. You should sleep in. Enjoy the time off." I poured coffee. Black. Too hot to drink, but I drank it anyway. "Julian called last night," she said, "after you left. What did he want?" "To see if you were okay." "What did you tell him?" "That you seemed fine." I sat down across from her. She kept looking at her screen. "Laura." "Yes? Do you think I'm going to just let this go?" She looked up then, met my eyes. "I think you're practical," she said. "I think you'll realize this is better for everyone." "How is it better for me?" "You get time, space, a chance to figure out what you actually want instead of what they've been extracting from you." "They didn't extract anything. I chose to work there." "Did you? Or did you just keep showing up because that's what you've always done?" "That's called reliability. It's called being used." She closed the laptop. Gave me her full attention for the first time since yesterday morning. "Julian told me what they're planning," she said. "The consulting firm, the client pipeline. It's smart, it's entrepreneurial, it's everything we raise them to be. We raise them to have integrity. They're not lying to anyone. They're offering services. Using methods I taught them. Methods aren't copyrighted, David. So you're defending this. I'm trying to help you see it clearly. I see it fine. Do you? Because from here it looks like you're spiraling, getting paranoid, reading conspiracies into normal business decisions. Normal business decisions don't involve forging exit paperwork. He had authorization. You said so yourself. For 6 weeks. Long enough. The way she said it. Firm. Like the conversation was over and I just hadn't realized it yet. My phone buzzed. Text from Melissa. "Can we talk? Not about work? About you?" I showed Laura the screen. "You should talk to her," Laura said. "Why?" "Because she's your daughter, who apparently thinks I need intervention. Maybe you do." I stood up, took my coffee upstairs. Behind me, Laura said something else, but I didn't catch it. Back in the office, I pulled up the system logs again. More access from Julian's IP. He'd been in the files at 4:15 this morning, searching, opening documents he'd never touched before. He was looking for something specific, the documentation that would tell him how to fix what was breaking. I checked the error logs from the IT systems. 17 critical failures, procurement workflow, inventory reporting, shipping manifest generation, all things I'd automated years ago with scripts that ran on schedules nobody remembered existed. Julian would be getting escalations right now, people asking him questions he couldn't answer. I opened a burner email account, sent a message to Angela in operations from a generic address. The inventory reports are pulling from a legacy database cluster that requires manual authentication every 30 days. Last authentication was October 1st. Next person to authenticate needs level 5 access and the original encryption keys. I didn't sign it. 30 minutes later, Julian called. I let it go to voicemail. "Dad, I need to talk to you about some technical issues. Can you call me back? It's urgent." I deleted it. He called again. I declined. Text message. "I know you're pissed, but people are depending on these systems." I typed. "People were depending on me. You decided they weren't." I didn't send it. Instead, I got dressed. Real clothes. Not work clothes, jeans, t-shirt. I looked like someone on vacation. "I'm going out," I called down to Laura. "Where?" "Errands." I drove to a coffee shop across from the office building, parked where I could see the main entrance. At 8:47, Julian arrived. Walked fast, head down, talking on his phone. At 9:03, Melissa showed up. She was dressed too formally for a PR firm, interview clothes, or presentation clothes. They were meeting someone. I waited. At 9:32, they both came out with someone I didn't recognize. Older guy, suit, briefcase, They walked to a restaurant 2 blocks away. I followed on foot, stayed across the street. Through the window I could see them at a table, laptop open, Julian pointing at the screen, Melissa talking, the older guy nodding. They were pitching, selling something. I took photos, zoomed in on the laptop screen, could just barely make out the slide deck. Brennan Advisory Services, Operational Excellence Solutions. My methodologies, my process maps, presented by my kids to someone who thought they'd invented them. I went back to the car, looked through the photos. One had caught the guy's face clearly. I ran it through reverse image search. Senior VP at a manufacturing firm we'd consulted for 2 years ago. I'd spent 6 months embedded in their operations, built them a custom inventory tracking system. Julian and Melissa were pitching him the same solution, but now it was their company doing it. My phone rang. Julian again. This time I answered. Yeah, Dad, thank God. Listen, there are some system issues and I need your help. I don't work there anymore. I know, but you built these systems. There's something about authentication protocols and encryption keys. It is lost. Sounds like a problem. Dad, come on. You removed me, Julian. You wanted to handle it yourself. This isn't about ego. This is about keeping operations running. Should have thought about that before you faked my resignation. I had authorization. No, you had access. There's a difference. Silence on his end. What do you want? He asked. Excuse me? To fix this. What do you want? I want you to figure it out. You're the operations manager now. Manage. I hung up. The phone rang immediately. I put it on silent. Drove to a different coffee shop. Sat in the back. Opened my laptop. I had copies of everything. The systems architecture, the scripts, the documentation, all backed up on personal drives over the years. Legal backups. Nothing stolen, just insurance. I started writing. A technical manual. How to maintain the systems Julian was now responsible for. Every single detail. 50 pages in, I stopped. Because I realized what I was doing. I was giving him what he needed. Making it easy. And that wasn't the play. I deleted it all. Started a different document. Titled it, System Dependencies, Critical Errors Pending. Listed every automated process, every script, every workflow, every single point of failure. Then I added timelines. Procurement workflow will fail completely by October 24th without reauthorization. Inventory reporting, manual recovery required by October 26th or data loss begins. Shipping manifests, legacy format conversion breaks October 28th. I saved it, encrypted it, backed it up 3 ways. Then I sent an anonymous email to the company's compliance department. Recent operational changes in the Industrial Systems Division have created critical vulnerabilities. Recommend immediate audit of authorization protocols and system maintenance schedules. Current management may not have full technical visibility. I didn't sign it. Didn't need to. Compliance took that stuff seriously. They'd start asking questions. Julian would have to answer them. And he couldn't, because he didn't actually know how anything worked. My phone buzzed. Text from Melissa. Dad, Julian said you won't help with the system issues. What's going on? I typed, ask your brother. Erased it. Typed, I'm taking some personal time, like you all suggested. Sent that instead. Her reply came fast. This isn't personal time. This is sabotage. I stared at the word. Sabotage. She thought I was breaking things on purpose. I wasn't. I'd just stopped fixing them. There's a difference. I called her. It's not sabotage if I'm not employed there anymore, I said. You know what I mean. Do I? Julian needs help. He can't access half the systems. Why not? Because you built them in some custom way nobody understands. I documented everything. Apparently not. Or apparently your brother didn't read it. Pause. What do you want, Dad? I want you to stop pretending this was about my health. I want you to stop acting like you did me a favor. We did. By forging paperwork? By starting a company with my name? By copying my methods? We didn't copy anything. We learned from you. That's different. You're pitching my work to my clients. Silence. How did you? I saw you. This morning. Restaurant meeting. Manufacturing VP. Same guy I worked with for 6 months 2 years ago. You followed us? I was in the neighborhood. That's insane. What's insane is my kids erasing me and then calling me paranoid when I notice. Nobody erased you. Julian's in my job, using my name, selling my processes. What would you call it? Business. The word hung there. Okay, I said. Okay what? Okay. It's business. So let's keep it business. I hung up. Sat there in the coffee shop watching people work on laptops. Normal people, normal lives, nobody actively dismantling them. My phone rang. Laura, I answered. Where are you? She asked. Out. Julian called. He's upset. He said you're refusing to help with critical systems. I don't work there. David. What? Don't be petty. Petty would be breaking something. I'm just not fixing things. There's a difference. People's jobs depend on those systems. Then Julian should have thought about that. He's your son. Who removed me from my job? To help you. Stop saying that. It's not true and you know it. Silence. Then, come home, we need to talk. I'm busy. Doing what? Personal time, like everyone suggested. I hung up. Blocked Laura's number. Blocked Julian's. Blocked Melissa's. I needed quiet, needed to think. They wanted me gone. Fine, I was gone. But they also needed me to clean up after them, to fix what they couldn't, to teach them what they'd skipped. And that part I wasn't doing. I drove to a storage facility on the east side. Rented a unit, small one. Paid cash for 3 months. Transferred all my backup drives there. The documentation, the scripts, the architecture files. Everything that explained how the company's operations actually worked. If they wanted it, they'd have to ask for it, explicitly. And then I'd decide. I checked my phone. 12 more missed calls. 6 from the main office. 3 from Julian's cell. 2 from Melissa. 1 from Laura. I turned the phone off, drove to a diner, ate lunch alone, watched traffic through the window. Somewhere across town systems were failing. People were panicking. Julian was sweating, and I was eating a sandwich. It felt wrong. It also felt right. That was the confusing part. After lunch, I drove around. No destination, just driving. Past the office building. Saw people in the windows, working, doing their jobs. Depending on infrastructure, nobody understood anymore except the guy who built it, the guy who didn't work there. I kept driving. Ended up at the park where we used to take the kids when they were little. Julian and Melissa, swing sets, slides, scraped knees, and ice cream trucks. Back when they looked at me like I knew everything. Now they looked at me like I was in the way. I sat on a bench, watched other families, other kids, wondered when it had changed. When had I become replaceable? Or had I always been and just didn't notice? My phone buzzed in my pocket. I'd turned it back on without thinking. Text from a number I didn't recognize. Mr. Brennan, this is Amanda from HR. We need to discuss your exit package. Multiple departments are reporting you're withholding critical information. This could affect your severance terms. I read it twice. Withholding information. I wasn't withholding anything. I just wasn't volunteering it anymore. I typed a response. I'm happy to discuss system documentation. My consulting rate is $300 per hour, 4-hour minimum. Sent it. The reply came in 3 minutes. You're still an employee through the exit period. You have obligations. I typed back. Check the separation paperwork. Voluntary exit. No obligations listed. No transition period required. Sent. No response after that. I sat in the park until sunset. Then I drove home. Laura's car was in the driveway. So was Julian's. Family meeting. I parked on the street. Walked in through the front door. They were in the living room. Laura on the couch. Julian in the chair. Both of them looked up when I came in. Where have you been? Laura asked. Around. We've been calling. I know. Julian stood up. He looked worse than this morning. Tie loose, hair messy. Dad, this has to stop. What has to stop? You know what? I really don't. The systems are failing. People can't do their jobs. You're the only one who knows how to fix it. Then you should have kept me employed. We can reinstate you. No. What? I don't want to be reinstated. You made your decision. Now live with it. This is insane. You keep saying that. Because it is. You're punishing everyone because you're mad at me. I'm not punishing anyone. I'm just not helping you clean up your mess. Laura stood up. David, enough. Julian made a mistake. We all see that now. But this needs to be fixed. Then fix it. We can't. Why not? Because we're not you. The three of us stood there. That was it. The actual truth. They'd removed me because they thought they didn't need me. Now they knew they did. And I was supposed to what? Forgive them? Make it easy? Here's what's going to happen, I said. Julian is going to figure it out. Or he's going to fail. Either way, it's not my problem anymore. You're willing to let the whole department collapse? Julian asked. You were willing to erase me. So, yeah. This is revenge. No. Revenge would be actively breaking things. This is just consequences. Julian looked at Laura. She looked at me. What do you want? She asked. I want my job back. My actual job. With an apology, public, from Julian to the entire staff. That's not happening, Julian said. Then we're done here. I walked upstairs, heard them talking in urgent whispers. Didn't care. In the office, I pulled up my email. 43 new messages, all work-related, all desperate. I archived them without reading. Then I drafted a message to the CEO, someone I'd met twice in 14 years, someone who probably didn't know my name. Dear Richard, recent operational challenges in the Industrial Systems Division stem from incomplete transition planning during a management change. I'm available to consult on remediation at standard industry rates. Contact me directly if interested. David Brennan. I sent it. Then I went to bed. Laura came in an hour later. Julian left, she said. Okay. He was crying. Okay. Does that matter to you? Did it matter to him when he erased me? She didn't answer, got ready for bed in silence, turned off the light, lay there in the dark next to me. You've changed, she said. No, you're just seeing parts you ignored before. I didn't ignore anything. You deleted text messages. You knew what was coming. You let it happen. I thought it would be better for you. Stop lying. I'm not. You're lying to yourself if you believe that. You wanted me out too. Maybe not as actively as Julian, but you didn't stop him. That's the same thing. She rolled over, faced away from me. We lay there, two people in one bed, miles apart. At 2 a.m. my phone buzzed. Email from Richard's executive assistant. Mr. Brennan, Mr. Richardson would like to schedule a call with you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Please confirm availability. I confirmed. Then I finally slept. Tuesday came fast. I met Richard at an upscale place downtown. White tablecloths, wine list longer than the menu. David, thanks for coming. Of course, we ordered, made small talk, waited for food. Then Richard pulled out a folder. I'll be direct. I want you as director of operations, full authority over industrial systems, budget control, team building, the works. He slid the offer letter across the table. I looked at it without touching. That's generous. You've earned it. Have I? You stabilized critical systems in 48 hours, documented 14 years of tribal knowledge in a week, trained a team to independence in 2 weeks. Yes, you've earned it. I picked up the letter, read through it. Salary was double what I'd been making. Benefits were comprehensive. Start date was April 1st. What happened to Julian? I asked. He's moved to a senior analyst role, different division, fresh start. He agreed to that? He requested it. I set the letter down. Can I ask you something? Sure. Why did you let him remove me in the first place? Richard paused. I didn't know the details until it was done. By then, reversing it would have looked worse than moving forward. So you let it stand. I made a judgment call. It was wrong. What changed? The system started failing. Then I reviewed the separation paperwork. Then I talked to legal. The whole thing was sloppy. Julian had authorization but not justification. So you're fixing your mistake. I'm correcting a bad situation. Yes. I looked at the offer letter again. I need time to think. How much time? A week. Take 2. This is a big decision. We finished lunch, talked about other things, market conditions, industry trends, the weather, normal executive lunch conversation, completely hollow. I drove back to the office, sat in my car in the parking garage, stared at the building. 14 years I'd walked through those doors. 14 years of fixing problems, building systems, making things work. And now they wanted me back. With authority, with recognition, with everything I'd wanted before, except I didn't know if I wanted it anymore. My phone buzzed. Laura. How was lunch? He offered me a director position. That's wonderful. Are you taking it? I don't know. What's stopping you? I don't know if I want to go back to that life. Pause. What do you want? I don't know. That's the problem. Then take the time to figure it out. What if I never figure it out? Then you'll have other problems to worry about. She said it lightly, almost joking, but there was truth underneath. I should get back to work, I said. Okay, see you tonight. Yeah. I went inside. The afternoon was quiet. Most of the urgent work was done. I spent time reviewing system logs, making notes, looking for optimization opportunities. Busy work, really. At 4 Angela stopped by. Can I ask you something? Sure. If you take the director role, will you stay long-term? Why do you ask? Because I need to know if I'm investing in a relationship with someone who's staying or just passing through. That's fair. So? I don't know yet. That's not very reassuring. It's honest. She smiled slightly. I appreciate that at least. If I take it, I'll commit fully. If I don't, I'll train my replacement properly. Either way, you'll be professional. That's all I know how to be. She left. I sat there thinking about professionalism and what it had cost me, my family, my marriage, my sense of identity, all sacrificed on the altar of being reliable. Maybe that was the problem. I'd been so busy being dependable that I'd forgotten to check if anyone actually valued it. Wednesday, I took a personal day. Told Angela I needed time to think. She didn't ask questions. I drove to the mountains. Different direction from the beach. Same goal. Found a hiking trail. Moderate difficulty. 3 miles up, 3 miles down. I hadn't hiked in years. Everything hurt by mile 2. Kept going anyway. At the summit, there was a view. Valley spread out below. Small town in the distance. Mountains in every direction. I sat on a rock and pulled out my phone. No signal. Just me and the sky and the quiet. I thought about the offer. Director, authority, budget, influence. Everything I'd wanted 3 weeks ago when I still thought wanting it mattered. What did I actually want now? Not revenge. I'd gotten that already. Julian demoted, systems saved, reputation restored, not validation. Richard's offer was validation enough, not money. The contractor rate was already more than I needed. So what? I sat there for an hour, came up with nothing, hiked back down. By the time I got to the car, my legs were shaking, drove home. Laura was cooking dinner. How was your day? She asked. Went hiking. Really? That's new. Needed to think. About the offer? About everything. She turned from the stove. What did you decide? Nothing yet. You're running out of time. I know. What's holding you back? I don't know if I want to be that person anymore. What person? The guy who makes systems work. who fixes everything, who's always reliable. What's wrong with that? It's how I got erased. She looked at me. You weren't erased because you were reliable. You were erased because you were taken for granted. Same thing. No, it's not. She plated dinner. We sat down. Being reliable is a strength, she said. Being taken for granted is other people's failure. So what do? You decide if you want to keep being reliable, and then you set boundaries that prevent people from taking advantage. That sounds exhausting. Being erased was exhausting. This is just different exhausting. We ate in silence for a minute. I got a call today, she said. From Julian. What did he want? To apologize. Again. But also to ask advice. About what? About how to actually learn systems thinking, not just processes, the foundation. What did you tell him? That he should ask you. I'm not ready to teach him. When will you be ready? I don't know. Maybe never? Maybe. She looked sad. That would be a shame. Why? Because you're good at it. And he needs it. And shutting that door forever helps nobody. He shut it first. Then be the bigger person and open it. Why is it always on me to be the bigger person? Because you can be. Because he can't. Not yet. I pushed food around my plate. I'll think about it. That's all I'm asking. Thursday and Friday, I worked from home, reviewed documentation, made refinements, updated procedures, avoided the office, avoided decisions. Saturday morning, I woke up early. Laura was already up, coffee made. We need to talk, she said. Okay. We sat at the table. I can't keep living in limbo, she said. I need to know where we stand. What do you mean? I mean, are we fixing this marriage or just coexisting until one of us leaves? I don't know. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have. She looked at me. I've been patient. I've given you space. I've tried to understand, but I need something from you. What? Commitment. To trying. To actually working on this instead of just waiting for it to resolve itself. I am trying. Are you? Or are you just going through motions? I didn't answer, because I didn't know. I want to fix this, she said, but I can't do it alone. What do you need from me? Honesty. Real honesty. Not careful answers that don't commit to anything. Okay? So here's an honest question. Do you still love me? I looked at her. 28 years, 2 kids, a house full of memories. I don't know, I said. Her face changed. At least that's honest. I'm not trying to hurt you. I know. But you are anyway. I don't know how not to. By figuring out what you want and then being honest about it. I'm trying. Try harder. She stood up, left the kitchen. I sat there alone. My phone buzzed. Text from Julian. Dad, I know you need space, but I wanted you to know I talked to Tom about learning security systems. He's going to mentor me, properly. I'm starting from scratch. I read it twice. He was actually trying, actually learning from his mistakes. I typed, "That's good. Tom's excellent." Sent it. His response came fast. "Thanks. That means a lot." I put the phone down, sat there thinking about family and forgiveness, and whether either was possible. Sunday afternoon, I went back to the office. Empty building. Just security and me. I walked through the operations floor, looked at the desks, the monitors, the systems humming along, all working now, all documented, all maintainable. I'd fixed everything, except my own life. My phone buzzed. Email from Richard. "David, following up on the offer. I know you're taking time to decide, but I need an answer by Friday. Please let me know." 5 days. 5 days to decide if I wanted to go back to a world that had erased me, even with authority, even with recognition. Did I want it? I walked to my old desk, the one that was Julian's now. Empty, clean, impersonal. I'd spent 14 years here, and now there was no trace of me. That was the reality of being reliable. You're essential until you're not, and then you're just gone. I left the building, drove home. Laura was in the living room. "We need to make decisions," she said. "I know. Both of us. I know." She looked at me. "I've decided something." "What?" "I want to stay married. I want to fix this. But I need you to decide if you want that too." "I do." "Do you? Or are you just saying that?" "I want it. That's not the same thing. It's where I am." She nodded slowly. "Okay, then we work with that." "How?" "Therapy, real therapy, not just talking to each other in circles." "Okay. You agree?" "Yeah." That was easier than I expected. "I'm tired of circling." She smiled slightly. "Me too." We sat there. "What about the job?" she asked. "I don't know." "You have 5 days." "I know." "What will help you decide?" "I don't know that either." "Then let's figure it out together." "Okay." It wasn't much, but it was something.